My name is Joyce Lin, and I'm a pilot and IT specialist here in MAF Papua. I went to school for computer science and basically at one point thought that I was going to be a computer programmer for my whole life. After I graduated, I worked for about 5 years in the computer science field and was kind of shocked when I discovered that God had other plans for my life. When I was in college, I went to a summer program where I got to fly gliders, and at the time had no thoughts of ever becoming a pilot, but basically I loved it. Convinced my parents to let me get a pilot's license. So while I was in college, I flew my friends and family around. And after college, my parents stopped paying for it, so I stopped flying because it's very expensive. Once I got to that point where I thought, what am I going to do next? God called me to go to seminary, and that was also a surprise. And a year into seminary, I had been exposed to all the different things that one normally goes to seminary for, like being a pastor, missionary, and I wasn't interested in any of those things. There was one day where I was visiting my parents. The next day I was going to go back to school. I was vaguely thinking about packing, and as I was walking into my room, I heard the words, "You should Google missionary pilot." And I was so shocked because that was the only time that I'd ever heard a voice like that. And it was so loud that I couldn't ignore it. The first hit was the website for MAF, and I started reading it. I saw that MAF had a second job listed as IT. And when I saw that, everything just kind of clicked. And I knew from that moment that this was what God had for me. It was like somebody pulled the curtains open. I actually came to Papua in 2010 to see what life here was like. At the end of that, was convinced that God was calling me to be a missionary pilot, and worked towards getting all the different licenses, became a flight instructor, had to pass the MAF technical evaluation, raise support, go to language school, and it's great to finally be here.
Terima kasih Tuhan atas hari ini, terima kasih atas kesempatan ini untuk pergi. Dalam nama Tuhan Yesus kami berdoa, amin.
Amen. A lot of times when people think of a missionary, they don't think of what I do. They don't think of flying a plane or fixing a computer. They think of someone out there evangelizing, and that's just not what we do most of the time, you know. My prayer each morning is simply that I would be sensitive to the Holy Spirit and that I would be a blessing somehow to somebody that day. And it might not be through flying, it might not be through IT, it might be through like a 30-second conversation. I've been just really pleased to find that, like, yeah, the more I am in tune with God's leading for my life, the more just small little opportunities there are each day to make a difference in other people's lives. I can't really explain why I get such a thrill out of flying a plane or programming a computer. It just seems to be the way that my brain is wired. I usually think, wow, I'm so fortunate to be able to do this, and so each day that I fly is just a gift.